This is Voice Upon a Time with Lord Tracy.
Once upon a time, there was a king who had 3 sons, 2 of whom were fine, handsome young men, and the third was a hunchback, whose name was Elaine. His father did not love him, but sent him off to the kitchen with the cooks while the 2 older brothers ate with him at his own table, and went with him everywhere. One day the old king sent for his 3 sons and said to them, "I am getting old, children, and I want to spend the rest of my days in peace and quiet. I wish to give up my crown and the administration of my kingdom to that one of you 3 who will bring me the finest piece of linen. Set out then, travel far away, and return in a year and a day." The 3 brothers started off on 3 different routes. The 2 elder brothers each had a fine horse to carry him, and pockets full of gold and silver. They went first to see their sweethearts and bid them goodbye. But there they forgot their quest, and led merry lives as long as their money lasted. Well, the hunchback, who had received only a 6-franc piece from his father, had no horse, and he walked bravely on. When he was hungry, he gnawed a crust of bread, gathered hazelnuts, whortleberries, and wild mulberries from the bushes along the road, and drank out of the hollow of his hand from the wayside springs. One day, as he was crossing a great moor, he heard a clear, fresh voice singing an old song. So he stopped to listen, and said, "I must see who it is that sings like that." And he followed the sound of the voice. Soon he came on a young girl of great beauty, who addressed him thusly, "Good morning, Elaine, youngest son of the King of France." "You know me, then?" asked the astonished prince. "Yes, I know you. I even know where you're going and what you seek. Your father has told you and your 2 brothers that he'll give up his crown and his kingdom to the one of the 3 that brings him the finest piece of linen. Is that not so?" "It's quite true," replied Elaine. More and more astonished he was. "Well, your 2 brothers have gone to see their sweethearts, and are having a grand old time with him, without caring about anything concerning the search or the fine linen. You, who have no lady love, have resolutely set to work, and you deserve to succeed. Come with me to my castle, and I'll tell you what to do." Elaine followed her to what she called her castle, but which was only a miserable hut of mud and clay. He remained there for some time with her, and before he left, she gave him a little box, not larger than his fist, and said to him, "It is time for you to return home. Take this little box to your father." Elaine returned with his box. When he reached the court of his father's palace, he saw his 2 brothers at the windows, quite happy and content with themselves. They had returned, with their horses laden with fine pieces of linen. "See, Elaine has come too," they cried. "He comes without the smallest piece of linen, as ugly and miserable as when he set out. He's not even lost his hunch along the way." The 2 elder brothers then spread out their linens before their father. They were very fine and expensive. "And you, Elaine," said his father, "do you refuse to compete? For you have brought nothing." Then Elaine drew the small box from his pocket and presented it to his father, saying, "Take this box, father," and opened it. Well, the old king took the box. He opened it up, and at once there fell out a piece of white linen. Smooth to the touch it was, soft and shining as silk. And for more than an hour, piece after piece after piece fell out, so that the box seemed just inexhaustible. "Elaine has won," said the king. "My crown is his." "There is sorcery about," said the 2 elder brothers, much put out, "and there must be 3 trials." "I agree," said the king. who was displeased at the idea of leaving his crown to a hunchback. "Give us another test," they cried. "Very well. To him who brings me the finest horse." And the three brothers set out, each himself. The two older ones went as before to see their lady loves first, and the hunchback took once more the road across the moor, where he had met the beautiful girl who had gained him his first victory. When after much trouble he reached it, he heard the same singing voice, singing a beautiful song. "All's well," said he, comforted and full of hope, and he hastened toward the singer's clay house. "Good morning," he said as he entered. "I've come to see you again." "Good morning, young son of the king," replied the young girl. "I know why you've come. Your brothers, beaten in the first contest, have demanded that there shall be 3, and the second test is to bring to your father the finest horse, right?" "Well, this is true, but how can I get a fine horse without any money?" "You got the finest linen without any money. Why should you not also have the finest horse without money? Remain here with me till the time comes to return, and do not at all be uneasy." Well, Elaine took courage and remained with the young girl. When the day arrived, she gave him another box, bidding him to be sure not to open it till he should be in the courtyard of his father's palace. He departed, but he had not gone far when he yielded to curiosity. He opened the box to see what was in it, and at once a beautiful horse jumped out, swift as lightning it was, and disappeared in a moment. At this he began to cry. What should he do now? He resolved to return to the young girl, as he had not gotten very far from her house, and to tell her of his misfortune. His kind friend gave him a second box, bidding him again not to open it till he should be in the courtyard of his father's palace, and holding it between his knees. This time he did not open it. When he reached the court of the palace, his 2 brothers had already been there for some time, and each of them had a magnificent horse. When they saw Elaine arrive, they cried, "Here's the hunchback at last, but he has no horse." "I have a box as before," answered Elaine, drawing his box from his pocket. "Your fine horse is in that, no doubt," they said. "Perhaps," said Elaine. "Open it then, that we may see your mouse." Elaine put his box between his knees. He opened it, and at once he found himself in the saddle of a superb horse, with a golden bridle on its head. Fiery and spirited it was, with sparks flying from its 4 feet, his nostrils, and his eyes. "Elaine has won it this time too," cried the old king, filled with astonishment. And Elaine's victory was indeed so apparent that his brothers didn't dream of disputing it, but they cried out spitefully, "Now for the 3rd trial. What shall it be, father?" "Well," said the king, "this time it will go to who shall bring me the most beautiful princess." Then the 3 brothers set out once again. The 2 elder ones went as before to see their fair ladies, and Elaine returned to his mysterious friend in the great moor. "Good morning, young son of the king," she said, seeing him return. "Your father has said that his crown shall be given to that one of the 3 sons who shall bring him the most beautiful princess. Is that not right?" "Yes," said the prince, "and I do not even know a princess." "Well, that makes no difference. Stay here with me till the time comes to present yourself to your father, and have faith in me." So Elaine remained again with his friend, and when the time had come, she said to him, "Here is a hen with a linen cloth on her back. Return with it to your father's house, and be sure not to lose the hen and the linen." "But shall I have no princess then?" said Elaine. "Go on with your hen, and trust me for the rest." So Elaine set out with the hen. But as he was going through a dark forest, she flew away, and then he began to cry. A lovely princess suddenly appeared beside him. "Why do you weep thus?" she said. "I've lost my hen," said Elaine. "I will find her for you." And sure enough, the hen came back at a sign from the princess, and the hen still had her linen on her back. The princess touched the hen with the end of a white wand she had in her hand, and at once the hen was changed into a fine gilded carriage, drawn by 6 superb horses. At the same time, Elaine saw his hunch disappear, and he became a rather handsome young man, well dressed, and seated in the coach by the side of the princess. Another woman, a maid, was seated on the coachman's seat, holding the reins and driving the coach. In this way, they came to the king's palace. The 2 elder brothers had already arrived and were awaiting the hunchback at the windows, each having a lovely princess by his side. When Elaine entered the courtyard with his splendid shining coach and his 2 companions, it seemed as if the sun himself had driven in there. The 2 younger brothers and their princesses almost burst with envy at seeing the youngest brother return as he did, and covered their faces with their hands. But the old king, formerly so cross and so full of pains, brightened up and slowly walked down to the court to receive Alan and his princess. "My crown and my kingdom are yours, Elaine," he cried. Then he gave his hand to the princesses to help them aright, and led them into the palace. The 2 elder sons and their princesses hid themselves for shame and envy, but they had to come to a great feast which the old king ordered to be prepared. All the court and the great men of his kingdom were invited. But during the feast, Elaine's beautiful princess made such a good impression on all the others in that end that Elaine's brothers and their princesses ran away to be seen no more. Soon afterward, the marriage of Elaine and his beautiful princess was celebrated, and the holidays and plays and feasts lasted for about a month. You believe me, don't you?
Join us again sometime soon for another mysterious and magical journey into the realms of our imagination. From Lord Tracy and all of us at Voice Upon a Time, pleasant dreams.